We are supporting the idea of political parties engaging with each other. We are bringing in the idea of multi-party dispensation, making it a reality. As it is now, without the amendment, political parties are actually on their own. Apart from receiving money from Electoral Commission, there is nothing more. What kind of political party, multi-party dispensation is that? It's not about suffocating anyone. It is about inclusion. Right now, the political parties that are not represented in Parliament don't actually receive funding. And yet they exist. We have them they have leaders at local government level. They need also to do mobilization. They need to attend meetings. Moreover, some of them are faithful in attending meetings. So this amendment will help include all political parties, regardless of whether you're big or small. For now, it is just for the big boys. And yet, they are all political parties and they are good for the country.
Where they are seeking to force political parties to sit and have negotiations and discussions and that kind of thing. It's problematic. It's hinged on the funding that political parties that have representation in Parliament get, that's passed by Parliament. And so the mover of the bill, or whoever sent her to move that bill, to propose and promote this bill, is saying parties that are not part of the National Consultative Forum will not receive funding that is passed by Parliament. That's interesting because National Consultative Forum is a creature of law. I know for a fact that the target has been, especially NUP, that decided to stay away from iPod. And we did give our reasons, but NUP is part of the National Consultative Forum. In fact, we are the vice chairs of the National Consultative Forum because legally the party in government chairs, then the leading opposition party seconds and nominates the vice chairperson. And previously, the vice chairperson we had nominated as a party was Honorable Joel Mugisha. When she passed on, we nominated Councillor Benjamin Katana, who is the vice chairperson of the National Consultative Forum. So we are full members.
Unfortunately, in the current amendment, in the existing law, without the amendment, there is no regard for the kind of political party that we have. There are different political parties. We have political parties that are represented in Parliament, but we also have political parties that are not represented in Parliament. The amendment seeks to consider both, but with clear definition and with a clear mandate on how the consultative forum will deal with political parties that are represented in Parliament, and also another arm which will deal with political parties that are not represented in Parliament.
The new twist they are trying to introduce therein is to say now let iPod be introduced as an element, more like a department within the National Consultative Forum. The challenge with that is that even legally it's problematic. iPod is an NGO. It's a loose club of willing people. The same way people can choose to be part of whichever club. There are various clubs in this country. You don't force people to be part of a club. Those who are willing can be part of it. But that which is provided for in law, National Consultative Forum, with all its issues and challenges, we are there. Yeah.
Unfortunately, in the current amendment, in the existing law, without the amendment, there is no regard for the kind of political party that we have. There are different political parties. We have political parties that are represented in Parliament, but we also have political parties that are not represented in Parliament. The amendment seeks to consider both, but with clear definition and with a clear mandate on how the consultative forum will deal with political parties that are represented in Parliament, and also another arm which will deal with political parties that are not represented in Parliament.
What we have always said and what we think that government needs to focus on, as opposed to trying to force parties, you see it, let's talk by force and so on. You show goodwill by doing what is right.
Unity, reconciliation, dialogue, no regard. For example, if the NRM chooses that they will now do harm to another party X, NRM, there is no basis on which Electoral Commission will buy it. NRM will continue receiving its money as it is. But when there is a condition, the indiscipline will be checked for each political party. It is good for in fact, it's good for opposition than even for the NRM.
Resolution of political parties bill, has NCF made sense? What we are saying, which even a child can see, you cannot force negotiations. You cannot beat people up, persecute them, lock up supporters and so on, and then you come and say, you sit here by force, we drink tea together. It cannot happen.
Now, on the money that is allocated through the Electoral Commission every year for political parties, that money is voted for political parties that are represented in Parliament. A budget of around 35 billion every year for political parties. There is a reason why the National Consultative Forum was created, as it highlighted in the Act. It was to foster dialogue, to foster unity of political parties within the multi-party dispensation, to handle issues of discipline, to handle meetings. Unfortunately, in the current arrangement, the National Consultative Forum and the Electoral Commission itself cannot effectively control or even support or even discipline political parties. If for example, they report what transpired in the recent by-election, you report to the Electoral Commission, there is no means on which the Electoral Commission can bite or even take action, even if there is money. This amendment will seek to empower this National Consultative Forum to be able to take action when there is a political party that is not interested in dialogue, that is not interested in at least then there will be a condition of funding, not in the way it is now. As it is currently, all political parties that have members in Parliament receive a certain amount of money, whether you attend meetings for dialogue, whether you are or not. You just receive like that. In fact, it is like a donation.
Our concern has always been the persecution. Stop persecuting us as leaders in the opposition and our supporters. Release all political prisoners. Let us as political parties, all the different political parties, especially those in the opposition, let them be able to go out there, do mobilization the same way NRM does and so on. That way, you just might entice us to say, okay, you want us to sit on a round table, let's sit. Because there's goodwill out there. But it doesn't make sense for you to say, let's sit, talk, have a cup of tea, take pictures and so on. But tomorrow when we say we are going to Arua for mobilization activity, police and the military will be waiting for us to foil our activities. So those are the things that need to be worked on. Otherwise, don't think you can force people to say, you sit in this room and talk by force. By the way, you could even force them to enter the room. But you're not going to force them to speak, to have genuine negotiations. That cannot be forced. So those who think that these things can be done by law are misguided. You can get a donkey, carry it by force to a well and take it to the well. But you will not force that donkey to drink water. It has got to open its mouth and drink the water. That's what needs to be addressed. The people of Uganda have never said no to a discussion about our country. In fact, we have always wanted that. But what kind of discussion do you want to have about our country? A discussion about good governance, a discussion about transition. You cannot have a leader for 40 years and it gets to be okay, who keeps tinkering with the constitution, amending it at every turn so as to keep in power. No,